All right, so now let's add the function to paginate the application, so that maybe when we have like maybe 20 products, you want to display maybe only 5 per page or only 10 per page, depending on what you want. So for us to do that, I am going to come to npmjs.org.com rather, and then I'll search for a package called React Paginate. When I built my React course, I actually built out this React pagination component from scratch by myself. It was a pain to build it, but thank God we have this package that saves us the time and the pain of having to build it by ourselves. So what you just need to do is copy this command here to install it, and then if you check now, you will see that see 370,000 people download this package weekly, so people are really using it. So let's not reinvent the wheel. I'll just come here and then I'll install it inside our own application. So let's just come here and then I'll just paste that in. So we're in our front end. I'll just paste it in. So Ctrl V, aha, then I'll hit enter on that. So while it's installing, let's just start setting up our React paginate. So in this one, we are going to work with the documentation a lot. So let me scroll down and show you what I mean. The documentation gives us everything we need to use React paginate. So so this is where we're going to start from. From this top here, I'm just going to copy everything you see here from this very current item state that we see here. So I'll just like that copy down. It would have actually made sense to copy it one after the other, but let me just copy everything, and then I'm going to copy up to this last line here, not the closing curly braces, because we are not copying the function. Let me show you. So you see this function to paginate item, we're not copying the function, it's just what is inside that we're copying. So let me right click and copy. Okay, I'll just use Ctrl C then, because I'm not getting the right click option. Now let's come inside of our page here, and I will just, before this use effect, I'll just come here and add a comment. So here I'll say begin pagination, and then I'll also create another one to end pagination. So in between these two guys here is where I will now slot in everything I copied. So let me tab that, and then I'll just paste that in. We're going to modify this thing. So we'll start from the top here, where wait, let me scroll up. So this begin pagination. So we have a state that is showing us the current item, and this current item simply means the current item that is displayed on the page. All right, and then we just set it to null. So what I want to do is, instead of setting it to null, I'll set it to an empty array like this. So you see the changes we're making. Then this one now says page count, and then we're setting page count. I'm going to leave it as 0. Then I'll remove all these comments, because we don't need it. Look at the next one. Item offset is 0 currently. We're also going to leave it as 0. Now I'm going to create another variable here, and I thought it would actually be here on its own, but let me just create it. So I'll come here and say items per page. Items per page, and this is const, and I'll set that to be equal to, for now, let me just say 1 item per page, because currently we have 3 items. So if I say something like 5, or let me just say 2 items per page, so that at least we can spread the pages out. Now let's enter our use effects, and inside of this our use effects, we're starting with a comment. So let me remove it, and then it's telling us, giving us this kind of calculation to calculate the numbers of items we're going to have on the page. This console.log, do we really need it? No, we're not logging in. We don't need to log anything to the console. Then we're setting current item to items.slice. So now these items actually represent the items you have on your page. And what do we have on the page? We have the filtered products. That's what is displaying on the page, if you remember. So here, instead of saying items.slice, everywhere you see items here, we're going to replace it with filtered products. So let me select this one also. Is there any other place? I don't know. Okay, we have this one here, items.length. So we'll select this one also. Any other place? So those three places where we have items, which is supposed to represent the items on the page, we're going to replace it with our own items, which is filtered products. All right, so that's it for this one. Then let's keep scrolling down. Do we need this comment? No, we don't. So get rid of the comment. And then we have this function to handle click. All right, now this handle click function, what are we doing there? Okay, we've already changed the text here to filtered products.length. Then we have this console.log, which we are definitely not using. So get rid of the console.log to make our page neater. Then lastly, we have this statement. So essentially what I just did is I just changed the pointers to our own application by slotting in the filter products.length. Because if you come to the documentation here, right, if you come to this documentation here, you will see that they had these items, which was this array of numbers. So but in our own, we have an array of products, and that array of product was saved into the filtered products. That's why we just changed these items to filtered products. So now let's get the remaining part of the documentation here. So I'm going to scroll down to, let me just scroll down gently. So you see, we're now going to use this React Paginate component. All right, so I will grab this React Paginate component, and then I'm going to slot it into my own application. So let's come here, and then I'll just close this guy and come here. So I'll scroll down to it's going to be below this table here. So let's come here. So you see, after this table here, we have this div that surrounds the table. So I'm just going to come below the div, and then I'll slot in, that's my React Paginate component. Of course, you're going to get an error because we need to import this. Let me see if we can auto import it. So I don't think we can. Let me just grab the import statement here. You should have an import statement, so that should be so you see, import React Paginate from React Paginate. So I'll copy these guys, I'll copy that, so let's come up here and just import it. This project is getting this page is getting very big. So let's just open that, and I think maybe I'll just collapse some things like this shorten text. Let's collapse them. Use effects can be collapsed as well. So let's come down to our React Paginate and let's continue. So but before I start editing this React Paginate, I think there's something I noticed here. If you see there's a red mark here, it means that there's something wrong up there in our code. So if you just scroll up here to where where this pagination guy here, I think, so this is where the problem is, somewhere here. You notice that this our handle click function has an opening curly braces, but it doesn't have a closing. So if I come here now, I'll just add the closing, and then that should get rid of that red mark. So you see the red mark has disappeared. So please make sure I'm sure you probably noticed it before now, but if you did not, make sure you have a closing curly braces for your handle click function. All right, so now let's come down here and modify our paginate function. So I'll come down here and so this is what we have. So technically we just want to make some changes. The break label, I'll just leave it as it is, but you see this next label here, I'll change it to capital letter next. Then handle click page range display, I will set this to 2, just like what we selected up. Eventually we're going to change this when we add more products. Then previous, I'm just going to make this capital letter as well. and then I'll just say prev instead of previous because I want it to just be 4-letter words. Then let's remove this guy. This one I'll leave it as it is. Now there are some CSS properties that will help us apply styling to React Paginate. So what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste in the CSS classes so that you will just pause the video and maybe just do the same. So if I come here now, I'll just paste them in. So there are 4 of them, or 5 rather. The first is the container class name, and I've set mine to Pagination because that's what I use. That's the class name I use in my own CSS. Then we have the page link class name, which is set to page num. Previous link class name also. Next link class name, excuse me. Then active class name. This active class name, I'm going to set it to active page. Okay. Then I think one more thing we need to do is we need to what's it called? This page range display, let me set it to 3 because that's what I used when I was building. So then here where we are doing filtered product.map, we are mapping through the filtered products here. We'll change this to the current items. And where is that current items coming from? It's coming from our pagination. So you see these current items here. This is what we are going to map through right now. Okay, so while we're at it, this use effect inside of our pagination, don't forget that let's just add the filtered product as a dependency so that it removes this yellow line. So here I'll just say filtered product and just add that. Okay, so now let's go and add the current items as what we are mapping through. So I'll change this filtered product.map here to current items dot map. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save. When you save, just give it a couple of seconds. So you see now we now have this pagination here, and let's just click on this next to see if it works, or number 2. So you see that's taking us to the second page which has just one product. Then if you click on next, it also works. Previous, it also works. So that's about it for setting up our pagination in the product list. I'll see you in the next one.